Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Dan Greer coming at you from Tempe. I know, beautiful background behind me. I'm not much of a city guy, but this is some gorgeous buildings up here. Um, I digress. Today, I came to talk to you a little bit about drug testing and compliance and how drug testing compliance works. Now, there's a couple things you got to keep in mind. Number one, drug testing compliance, you got to pre-test. It's called a pre-employment test. You got to do that for all of your employees that are CDL drivers. Only if they hold a CDL, only if they're driving CDL vehicles for you. Now, if you got a guy, he's like, oh, this is my division manager, he's never going to drive a truck, blah, blah, blah. That's fine. You don't have to drug test him. As long as he's never going to get in a truck and you don't classify him as a CDL driver, not an issue. All right? You can have whatever license you want to. You could look at me like, whenever I'm running $100 million companies, I'm not going to be doing a drug test. Number one, because I'm not going to be doing drugs because I'm smarter than that. But number two, because I ain't going to be driving no damn trucks. I'm going to be running the companies, right? So I digress. My point is, if they're not operating a CDL truck, they don't got to do it. Even if they have a CDL, okay? Just because they have a CDL, if they're not actually operating CDL vehicles for you, you don't have to do drug tests for them. Number one. Number two, all right, you got to be involved in a consortium. Now, what's a consortium? A consortium is a group of people that pull randoms. Okay, now it can be just your company, it can be a whole bunch of different companies. You can be in a global consortium and you can do a bunch of different companies, which is super smart and what I recommend doing, because it's so much easier to do that than it is to be in your own and control your own. You just let somebody else do it and you're like, this is easy. Let Eclipse DOT do all your drug testing for you. This is super simple. We don't even have to worry about it anymore. Yeah, so that's what we get a lot of customers to do. We really, it's super smart to do that, to have somebody else do them for you, like crazy smart, because then you're not responsible for it as much. Right now, those drug test results for randoms are like 50% a year, drugs, 10% alcohol. If you don't hit those metrics, that's your fault. So it's your job to watch whoever's running the consortium, even if it's not yours. Even if you're in a global consortium, it's your job to watch whoever's running that consortium, because if those numbers don't hit, guess what? That's your fault. Not theirs, yours. I know. What a crock of crap, right? Okay, now the next thing you got to keep in mind. So we've got pre-employment, we've got consortium. The next one is called post-accident drug testing. Now, when you get into post-accident, that's anytime there's an accident. Now, there's a whole decision tree for accidents. I'm going to go over that decision tree in a little bit. I'm not going to tell you right now. I'm going to leave that suspenseful hanging. Yeah, I just left you hanging. Boom. Okay. You got to do post-accident drug testing. That's for all commercial drivers. I'll do a whole video on it so you guys can watch it. And then you should check out our website. I bet we got a decision tree somewhere for post-accident drug testing. EclipseDOT.com. Get in there and hunt around for it. Yeah, I'm going to make you search my website to find it. Look at me go. Okay. Anyways, the last thing you got to do is what's called return to duty testing. Now, return to duty is when somebody fails a drug test. They've got to do a return to duty testing. It's your job as an employer to make sure they've completed that return to duty testing and that it is negative before you let them get back into a vehicle. Now, it is your job as an employer to make sure that you don't let anybody operate a vehicle that hasn't passed a pre-employment drug test. It is your job that if somebody goes in for a random, that they go in when you're told to send them, and you can't send them in like 4 days later or 3 weeks later. Once the supervisor's informed, then their responsibility is to send them in. So that's kind of all what drug testing is. That's compliance of it. Super important. I've already talked a little bit about fines, that kind of stuff. That way you guys are all on the same page for that. So hopefully it helps. Hopefully you guys learned a lot. Tell you later. Bye.